Roald Dahl's George's Marvellous Medicine. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. The Marvelous Plan. Page 12. The Marvelous Plan. George sat himself down at the table in the kitchen. He was shaking a little. Oh, how he hated Grandma, because Grandma hated him for growing up. He really, really hated that horrid old witchy woman. And all of a sudden, he had a tremendous urge to do something about her. Something whopping. Something absolutely terrific. A real shocker. A sort of explosion. Oh. He wanted to blow away the witchy smell that hung about her in the next room. He's resenting her. He has this resentment, and he's expressing that resentment in the form of an explosion or doing something whopping and terrific, not realizing that resentment can manifest in violent ways sometimes, and doing something whopping can be violent. He may have only been 8 years old, but he was a brave little boy. He was ready to take this old woman on. Yes, he resented her, and he sees her as his enemy. I'm not going to be frightened by her, he said softly to himself. But he was frightened, and that's why he wanted suddenly to explode her away. Well, not quite away, but he did want to shake the old woman up a bit. Yeah, so we think a certain way, and then we realize how that's wrong. And even if in children they do realize sometimes that if they are old enough, they will realize the consequences of action. That is important. Very well, then, what should it be, this whopping, terrific, exploding shocker for Grandma? He would have liked to put a firework banger under her chair, but he didn't have one. He would have liked to put a long green snake down the back of her dress, but he didn't have a long green snake. The illustrations are so cute. He would have liked to put six big black rats in the room with her and lock the door, but he didn't have six big black rats. As George sat there pondering this interesting problem, his eyes fell upon the bottle of Grandma's brown medicine standing on the sideboard. Rotten stuff it seemed to be. 4 times a day, a large spoonful of it, and it was shoveled into her mouth, and it didn't do her the slightest bit of good. She was always just as horrid after she had had it as she has been before. The whole point of medicine surely was to make a person better. If it didn't do that, then it was quite useless. So ho, thought George suddenly. Aha! Oh hum! I know exactly what I'll do. I shall make her a new medicine. One that is so strong and so fierce and so fantastic it will either cure her completely or blow off the top of her head. Oh my god, blowing off somebody's head. I'll make her a magic medicine, a medicine no doctor in the world has ever made before. George looked at the kitchen clock. It said 10:05. There was nearly an hour left before Grandma's next dose was due at 11. Here we go then, cried George, jumping up from the table. A magic medicine it shall be, now that he has planned it. So give me a bug and a jumping flea, give me two snails and lizards three, and a slimy squiggler from the sea, and the poisonous sting from a bumblebee, and the juice from a fruit of jujube tree, and the powdered bone of a wombat's knee, and 100 other things as well, each with a rather nasty smell. I'll stir them up, I'll boil them long, a mixture tough, a mixture strong, and then hi ho, down and down it goes, a nice big spoonful, hold your nose. Just gulp it down and have no fear, how you like it, Grandma dear. He's on a revenge quest. Will she go pop? Will she explode? Will she go flying down the road? Will she go poof in a puff of smoke? Start fizzing like a can of Coke? Who knows? Not I. Let's wait and see. I'm glad it's neither you nor me. Oh, Grandma, if you only knew what I have got in store for you. He's on a revenge quest. And being a child, I can see we don't completely grasp the the running of thoughts in our head, and we just let it run, and we never understand when we should stop because they don't realize consequences. And that's why, while dealing with children, it's very necessary to understand that they can seem to be very evil sometimes, but they have to understand consequences. So rather than, in this case, if it was a child in front of me, it would have been very, it would, the parents in this case normally just explode and they just go, oh my god, that is so wrong. But it's a child, and they need to understand what is right and wrong first, to think right and wrong, to differentiate from between the right and the wrong. Now that was chapter 2. It was a fast, it was a short chapter. It was a very, very short chapter. It was only like 4 pages. So I'll go ahead and go with chapter 3 in the same sitting. Let's see. Okay, so chapter 3. George begins to make the medicine. George took an enormous saucepan out of the cupboard and placed it on the kitchen table. George, came the shrill voice from the next room. What are you doing? Nothing, Grandma, he called out. You need not think I can't hear you just because you closed the door. You're rattling the saucepans. I'm just tidying up the kitchen, Grandma. And then there was silence. George had absolutely no doubts whatsoever about how he was going to make his famous medicine. He wasn't going to fool about wondering whether uh, to put in a little bit of this or a little bit of that. Quite simply, he was going to put in everything he could find. So he had a plan, but it was not thought through. Of course, it's child. There would be no messing about, no hesitation, no wondering whether a particular thing would knock the old girl sideways or not. The rule would be this: whatever he saw, if it was runny or powdery or gooey, it went in. In it went. Nothing had ever made a medicine. Nobody had ever made a medicine like that before. If it didn't actually cure grandma, then it would anyway cause some exciting results. Cure grandma? Baby, it would kill grandma. Okay, then it would anyway cause some exciting results. It will be worth watching. George decided to work his way around the various rooms one at a time and see what they had to offer. He would go first to the bathroom. There were always lots of funny things in the bathroom. So upstairs he went, carrying the enormous two handled saucepan before him. In the bathroom, he gazed longingly at the famous and dreaded medicine cupboard. But he didn't go near it. It was only the thing in the entire house he was forbidden to touch. He had made solemn promise to his parents about this, and he wasn't going to break them. There were things in there, they had told him, that could actually kill a person. And although he was out to give Grandma a pretty fiery mouthful, he didn't really want a dead body on his hands. George put the saucepan on the floor and went to work. Number one was the bottle labeled Golden Gloss Hair Shampoo. He emptied it into the pan. That ought to wash her tummy nice and clean. It's like when your grandma would say, "Wash your mouth with soap" if you say a bad word. I mean, not currently, but in the past, grandmas used to say that. He took a full tube of toothpaste and squeezed out a whole lot of it in one long worm. Maybe that will brighten up those horrid brown teeth of hers. Yes, of course, eating toothpaste will definitely cure your brown teeth. There was an aerosol can of superfoam shaving soap belonging to his father. George loved playing with aerosols. He pressed the button and kept his finger on it until there was nothing left. A wonderful mountain of white foam built up on the giant saucepan. With his fingers, he scooped out the contents of the jar of vitamin enriched face cream. Oh, this is horrid. This is horrid. This is actually horrid. In went a small bottle of scarlet nail varnish. Oh God. Oh God. If the toothpaste doesn't clean her teeth, then this will paint them red as roses. He found another jar of creamy stuff labeled hair remover. Smear it on your legs, it said, and allowed to remain for 5 minutes. George tipped it all into the saucepan. Oh my God. On all of these labels, it says, normally on the back of the bottle, it says, do not consume, and do not, if it goes into your eyes, wash it off really thoroughly. To think that all of these are going into the medicine. Let's see what let's just see what happens now. There's a bottle with yellow stuff inside it called Dishworth's famous dandruff cure. In it went. There was something called Brilliant for cleaning false teeth. It was a white powder. In that went too. He found another aerosol can, Nevermore Ponking Deodorant Spray, guaranteed, it said, to keep away unpleasant body smells for a whole day. She could use plenty of that, George said as he sprayed the entire canful into the saucepan. Liquid paraffin, the next one was called. It was a big bottle. He hadn't the faintest idea what it did to you, but he poured it in anyway. That, he thought, looking around him, was about all from the bathroom. On his mother's dressing table, In the bedroom, George found yet another lovely aerosol can. It was Helga's hair set. Hold 12 inches away from the hair and spray lightly. It squirted the whole lot into the saucepan, and he did enjoy squirting those aerosols. Back in the 1960s, 50s, and 60s, hairsprays, hair aerosols, they were like all about the aerosols back in the day. They were so in fashion, and of course there's a hair set spray on the table. There was a bottle of perfume called Flowers of Turnips. It smelled of old cheese. In it went, and into went a large round box of powder. It was called Pink Plaster. There was a powder puff on top, and he threw that in as well for luck. He found a couple of lipsticks. He pulled the greasy red things out of their little cases and added them to the mixture. The bedroom had nothing more to offer, so George carried the enormous saucepan down the stairs again and trotted up the laundry room where the shelves were full of all kinds of household items. The first one he took down was a large box of super white for automatic washing machine. Dirt, it said, will disappear like magic. George didn't know whether grandma was automatic or not, but she was certainly a dirty old woman. My God, he's doing dirty to the old woman. So she's better have it all, he said, tipping the whole box full. There was a big tin of Waxwell floor polish. It removes filth and fouls messes from your floor and leaves everything shiny bright, it said. George scooped the orange colored waxy stuff out of the tin and plonked it into the pan. There was a round cardboard carton labeled Flea Powder for Dogs. Keep well away from dogs' food. Said, because this powder, if eaten, will make the dog. What will it make the dog do? Explode. Oh my god. Now there are exploding dogs. Good, said George, pouring it all into the saucepan. Is that exploding diarrhea? That's how they will explode with diarrhea. He found a box of canary seeds on the shelf. Perhaps it will make the old bird sing. Canary seeds. Canary seeds are not. He thought. He thought these are growing up to be like what, birds? Next, George explored the box with shoe cleaning materials, brushes and tins and dusters. Well, now he thought grandma's medicine is brown, so my medicine must be brown, or she'll smell a rat. Now, smell a rat. Interesting. Smell a rat. It means something is fishy. The way to color it, he decided, would be brown shoe polish, of course. The large tin he chose was labeled dark tan. Splendid! He scooped it all out in an old spoon and plopped it into the pan. He would stir it up later. On his way back to the kitchen, George saw a bottle of gin. Now we are talking alcohol in a children's book. Gin, a bottle of gin standing on the sideboard. Grandma was very fond of gin, of course. She was allowed to have a small nip of it every evening, as expected. Now he would give her a treat. He would pour it in the whole bottle. He would pour in the whole bottle, my God. If nothing on this list kills Grandma, a whole bottle of gin will. My God, a whole bottle. Yeah, he did. Back in the kitchen, George put the huge saucepan on the table and went over to the cupboard that served as a larder. The shelves were bulging with bottles and jars of every sort. He chose the following and emptied them one by one into the saucepan. A tin of curry powder, a tin of mustard powder, a bottle of extra hot chili sauce, a tin of black peppercorns, a bottle of horseradish sauce. My God, it's going to taste so awful. All of these. Ex- uh, forget the forget the previous things. These things itself together, it's horrid. There, he said aloud, that should do it. George, came the screechy voice from the next room. Who are you talking to in there? What are you up to? Nothing, Grandma. Absolutely nothing, he called back. Is it time for my medicine yet? No, Grandma. Not for about half an hour. Well, just see you don't forget it. I won't, Grandma, George answered. I promise I won't. Of course, he's not going to forget Grandma's medicine that he's making right now. Okay, so that was it for the third chapter of George's Marvelous Medicine. Now, before taking up the fourth chapter, if any of you guys are watching, um, put in something in the comments if you want to discuss about it. What in these chapters jumps at you? Something which is represented metaphorically in these chapters that you liked. And this is what I love about children's books, right? These are absolutely readable by adults. These are so well written, not only the children, but their parents. These are the books that the parents should be reading to their children. These books are so stimulating for the children. It's really it's a really nice read. For today, I think I'll end the stream here. I'll see all of you guys next time.